We are talking about climate change, carbon emissions and global warming and various other aspects, but we are not addressing soil. Soil is the habitat upon which zillions of lives thrive. Once there is no richness in soil, then you have forsaken the planet in many ways. Every responsible scientist in the world and the UN agencies are clearly saying we have only 80 to 100 harvests left. That means approximately 45 to 50 years of agricultural soil left on the planet. By 2045, we will be producing 40% less food than what we are producing right now, and our populations will be 9.3 billion people. The food shortages that could manifest in the next 25 years, the consequences of that is unimaginable. Civil wars will unfold across the world once there is food shortage. What we are facing now is soil extinction. Why is soil becoming extinct? Where is it going away? What is happening to our soil? We must understand, if you add organic content to sand, sand will turn into soil. If you remove all organic content from the soil, soil will become sand. In normal agricultural soil, the minimum organic content should be between 3 to 6%. The most minimum is 3%. At least this minimum to keep the soil alive, to keep the soil as living soil is a must. Agricultural soils across the world, the depletion is so heavy, in most countries, more than 50% of the topsoil is already gone in the last 100 years. The nutrient levels have dropped significantly. The level of micronutrients you would get from your food in early 20th century to what you are getting from the same food now has dropped 90%. If you ate one orange in 1920s, what you got from it, now in 2020, if you have to get the same, you will have to eat 8 oranges. This is what we have done to our food.
Soil is the biggest ecosystem on the planet, and so few people know anything about it. 1 teaspoon of healthy soil probably contains more microbes than there are people on Earth.
The microbial life in the first 12 to 15 inches of topsoil is the basis of our existence. It is this magic beneath our feet which has produced the life that we are. This first 12 to 15 inches of soil is the basis of life for 87% of life on this planet, including you and me.
We have to begin to recognize that what we call our soil, Mother Earth, is a living organism.
Open soils, ripped open by ploughing, open to sunlight, is the basis of destruction of microbial life. So the focus should be on agriculture, the focus should be on seeing that land is under shade as much as possible, some kind of shade, grasses, herbs, bushes, trees. Conscious Planet is launching Save Soil movement to bring about a policy change to regenerate soil. As a part of this, I'm 65 and I'm riding 30,000 kilometers, a lone motorcycle journey, 30,000 kilometers across 24 nations to activate support from the citizenry to assure the governments long-term investments will be appreciated. So it's extremely important that soil regeneration is enshrined in the policy of every government on the planet. We must change the narrative on the planet that soil is a wealth, a legacy we have received from previous generations, and we have to pass it on as living soil for future generations. We are in a cusp of time. If you do the right things now, in the next 15 to 25 years, we can significantly turn this situation around and regenerate the soil. But if we allow this to progress like this for another 30 to 40 years, after 40 years if we attempt this, then it could take 150 to 200 years because that much loss of biodiversity would have happened. From 21st of March for 100 days, the whole world, every human being on the planet should talk soil. We must hear the word soil, save soil everywhere to see that the narrative on the planet changes towards the most vital aspect of our life, the soil. Each one of you should reach as many people as you can to make this happen. Many global leaders and influencers are already participating in the movement. Be a part of this and let us make it happen.
From my part, as much as I can contribute.
We're going to save the soil. Do your part.
And saving the soils.
Our future, our children's future, and our planet's future depend on it.
Save the soil.
We know what we must do, so let's make it happen.
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 I think if we all contribute, then we have a really strong voice. Save soil.
Event is about to start. There is a lot of crowd still waiting for us to get inside.
There has been so much excitement and everybody is so excited to hear Sadhguru talk about save soil.
Tonight was absolutely overwhelming, and I was so honored to have the opportunity. First of all, just to meet Sadhguru was a huge honor.
Sadhguru is very charismatic and he says it as it is.
I want all graffiti artists to whatever walls that you have, make sure that you use this. This is our time. This is our time on the planet. What we do here is our business. Let's do the right things and save soil and let's make it happen. One of the most beautiful cities of Europe. It is time that we in 21st century show that we are a mature citizens of this planet, that we want long-term well-being for ourselves and future generations. This is the opportunity. Save Soil is that moment.
And I'm convinced that both our Minister of Agriculture as well as the entire ministry fully supports that trend or that direction.
He is offering me much more than I came to ask him for.
It's our common issue together. It's not for one nation, for one person, but we as people have to unite and to solve this.
Here we are in this wonderful city of Vienna. soil as a common denominator to bring all of us together. Make sure the world gets it now. La la le la le is your mantra for now, for these 93 days. And above all, don't pick a fight with anybody, it doesn't matter what they're doing, because we need every one of them. Namaskar. Yes, I know war is an important thing, but it's such an important thing that we can do without in our lives. At least from here on, cutting-edge technology should not go into military weaponry. This you must pitch for.
So, how do you feel here in Ljubljana in Slovenia?
Feeling like it's home.
Rešimo pest!
All of us have been part of this destruction. The only way is all of us become part of the solution also. So let's make it happen. Riding on to Italy. Italy is raining heavily tonight. Here in Venice, what a city! I am a huge admirer of Rome because whoever did it, their sense of geometry is so fantastic. The former president of European Parliament, he is 100% with us, and FAO is our partners now.
And we are very happy that we are aligned in our message to high the profile of soils, and we believe that is very much needed.
This great city, which is known as the Eternal City, we must understand over 2000 years ago, this Eternal City made the mistake of overfarming the region, and the erosions that caused did tremendous damage, and that was also the fall of the city at that time. So, the Romans of today should never make that mistake once again.
Quite joyful as well as inspiring. Thank you for the videos. It's now my pleasure to invite Ambassador Indramani Pandey, Permanent Representative of India, to the United Nations and other international organizations in Geneva to deliver welcome remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Sadhguruji, Excellencies, distinguished guests, Namaskar, and a very good afternoon to you all. It's my great pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to Sadhguruji and thank him for visiting Geneva as part of his global campaign to save soil. It also gives me pleasure to welcome Ms. Nadia, Director, SDGLab's UN office in Geneva, who is representing Ms. Tatiana Walovaya, Director General of the United Nations office in Geneva, as well as Mr. Stewart, Maginnis, Deputy Director General for Programs, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, Assistant Director General, Universal Health Coverage, World Health Organization. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to my fellow PRs and distinguished delegates from permanent missions here who have joined us this afternoon, and also communities of India, Switzerland, and other countries who are present here. A very warm welcome to you all. It's a momentous occasion for all of us. we saw the videos, but now we have the opportunity to learn from Sadhguruji himself in person about his vision, his goals behind his campaign to save soil. I would like to commend the initiative of Sadhguruji for launching his global campaign to save soil, which enjoys tremendous support of the government of India and people of India. And as you saw in the videos, it's very heartening to note that the campaign has been receiving universal global support. India's commitment to the welfare of the entire humanity is inspired by our civilizational ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Sarvodaya, which means the world is a family and let's strive for welfare of all. As a civilization, we have always believed in coexistence of all living beings in harmony with nature. Our civilizational ethos and beliefs are embodied and reflected in Sadhguru's commitment to the welfare of the entire humanity and his campaigns for global peace and harmony and global action to protect our mother planet, Mother Earth, its environment and climate. Sadhguru can be translated in English as the true Guru, the one who shows you the true path. Sadhguruji has not only been dedicated to the welfare of entire humanity, he has also understood the fact that we cannot achieve our goals unless we are able to inspire the people to identify with our goals and support them. The father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, had understood this paradigm and was successful in turning our freedom movement into a popular struggle for freedom. Our Prime Minister has also understood this paradigm, and that is why the government has endeavored to turn various developmental missions of India into popular mass movements in order to associate people of India with those missions to achieve successful outcomes, as exemplified in the success of our Clean India mission and Water is Life mission. There has been emphasis on global action to prevent climate change, we all know that, and the need to provide people a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. The issue of water has also been given the due global attention, as we saw in the recent water summit convened. However, as pointed out by Sadhguruji himself, there has been no comparable global focus on the health of soil, which anchors our life on planet Earth. We all know that over decades and centuries, our negligence of soil has led to huge loss of soil surface through degradation, pollution, and erosion. The ability of Mother Earth to support life of all living beings, including plants, is directly dependent on the health of soil, which provides sustenance to all living beings. The importance of the campaign of Sadhguruji to save soil can be best understood in the context of the dire need to preserve and rejuvenate soil for sustaining our life on planet Earth. I am quite confident that the campaign launched by Sadhguruji will succeed in drawing the attention of the governments and the people worldwide to the need to save soil and encourage them to take requisite steps to accomplish this goal. I am hopeful that endeavor of Sadhguruji to undertake a motorbike journey of nearly 30,000 kilometers, touching about 27 countries, covering the continent of Europe and the Middle East, will inspire people globally to join his campaign to save soil. I would like to appeal to all the people who are present in this room to become part of this campaign and join his hands and our hands to achieve the goal that we have set for ourselves. On behalf of the Government of India, I would like to just mention that in spite of the pressure of population, in spite of the pressure of agriculture that we have been actually able to increase our forest cover a modest increase of 3%. But that's a beginning, and we are committed to continue to increase our forest cover so that we in India can prevent soil degradation and save soil. Sadhguruji, that's our assurance and part of the government of India. Thank you again for undertaking this journey. Thank you for launching this movement to create this global awareness. And we are very keen to learn more from you on what we can do individually and collectively to join your hands in achieving this goal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome remarks. We are very fortunate that Sadhguru has kindly agreed to be with us today for this discourse. He needs no introduction, just a few words about him. Sadhguru Jagdish Vasudev is an internationally renowned Indian yogi, mystic, and visionary who has touched lives of over 1 billion people through his transformational yoga programs and social outreach environmental projects. Named one of India's most influential people, he has been an influential voice at major global forums addressing issues as diverse as socio-economic development, leadership, and spirituality. Sadhguru established Isha Foundation, a non-profit organization which has over 300 centers and more than 11 million volunteers worldwide. Sadhguru has been recipient of Padma Vibhushan Award by Government of India, the second highest civilian award accorded for exceptional and distinguished service. He has also launched a global movement, as we all know, Conscious Planet, to save soil, to address soil crisis. It is also hugely inspiring to see Sadhguru on world's biggest ecological movement on motorbike journey, spanning nearly 30,000 kilometers from UK through Europe and Middle East to India, to the cause of humanity and ecology to save soil. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to have Sadhguru with us today for this discourse. I would also like to share with you that after the discourse, there will be a question and answer session, which Sadhguru will be answering. So if you have any questions, you can keep it in mind and raise hands when the time for question and answer arrives. Without taking any further time, I will now pass on the floor to the dignitaries on the dais and would request Ms. Nadia Isler, Director of the SDGLab, who is representing the Director General of the United Nations Office at Geneva, to begin the discourse with her thoughts, followed by other speakers. And I will also request DDG IUCN to moderate the discourse. Over to you, Ms. Nadia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Pandey, Sadhguru, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and dear children. It's my pleasure to send the greetings from the Director General of the United Nations Office here in Geneva, Ms. Tatiana Valovaya, to all the participants to today's event. The Director General could unfortunately not attend due to her absence of Geneva, but she has asked me to send you the following message, and I quote, "I would like to sincerely thank Ambassador Pandey and the Permanent Mission of India, together with their partners, for organizing this event in the context of the 75th anniversary of India's independence to discuss our global, planetary, and human well-being. Last December, the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, delivered a landmark address on the state of the planet, setting the stage for dramatically scaled-up ambition on climate action over the coming period. He warned that making peace with nature is the defining task of the 21st century. The 6 years since the Paris Climate Agreement have been the 6 hottest years on record. Climate change is real, and it aggravates many of today's crises. Floods and droughts, storms and wildfires, extreme temperatures, and other climate shocks forced 30 million people to flee their homes in 2020. This number could rise to 1 billion by 2050. Small island nations and least developed countries are particularly vulnerable. For many years, we have been polluting the land, air, and sea and damaging the most precious element we have, nature. Our one planet is being destroyed, and human behavior has been the main factor that has brought us to this point. It is our responsibility as occupants of this shared planet to promote a more conscious attitude towards the earth and the environment, including by raising global awareness and mobilizing local communities. The Save Soil movement was created with the objective of mobilization towards this goal, and we have the honor to welcome its leader, Sadhguru, here with us today. Thank you so much for being with us. The global movement led by him addresses the soil crisis by mobilizing people around the entire world, advocating for soil health, and supporting national and local leaders in the implementation of concrete policies and actions to address climate challenges. We now live more than ever in an interconnected and fast-changing environment. The challenges we face are deeply intertwined and require mobilizations at many different levels. The COVID-19 pandemic, for one, is a tragic reminder of how deeply interdependent we all are. Community engagement is key to putting ecological challenges squarely into policies and actions at all levels. Ladies and gentlemen, the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, or the SDGs, is everyone's responsibility. Today, let us all get inspired by the work of Sadhguru and his supporters and all of you, and redouble our efforts on climate action and the Sustainable Development Goals to build a better and healthier world for us and our planet. Thank you very much. And this was the end of the Director General's message. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. And now I'd invite Naoko Yamamoto, the Assistant Director General of the World Health Organization, to make a couple of opening comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Your Excellency and Ambassador, dear Sadhguru, and dear friends and colleagues and children, it's my great pleasure to join this event together with you to discuss about the soils and humankind. And I'm also looking forward to listen to Sadhguru's vision of a conscious planet. So soils plays an important role in human health. However, as Ambassador has already said, that video said that this role has often been misunderstood or underappreciated. So for a long time, I'm working in the public health, but in the public health, we have been addressing soil mostly in the context of the potential threat of human and health. We have often thought about unhealthy or contaminated soil that can expose human toxins and pathogens, or about crops in nutrient-deficient soil. So we are not seeing the whole picture in a more holistic manner. But now we have a growing body of evidence showing that healthy soil plays a fundamental role in safeguarding human health, food security, and nutrition. So we know that healthy soil favors food crops higher in nutritional value. This contributes promoting a healthy diet, which helps to prevent many risk factors of non-communicable diseases and provide more prevention and protection against infections. Healthy soils also promote healthier environment for human beings. For instance, healthy soils are essential to carbon capture and water availability. They are also important for traditional medicine in order to ensure adequate supply from healthy soil. Since healthy soil fosters diverse environment for improved biodiversity and ecosystem functioning, they also promote opportunity for income gradation and generation and our eco-social system and activities. We need healthy soil for healthy forests, rivers, and oceans, and healthy human beings. However, we have not always used and protected soils as we should have. For WHO, it's clear that health for the soil is part of the larger ecosystem This is what WHO and other UN agencies call One Health. One Health is an integrated, unified approach that aims to sustainability and balanced, optimized health of people, animal, and environment. They are closely linked and interdependent. So One Health cross across the boundaries of animal, human, and environmental health, and it looks for the holistic way to understand the health and how diseases emerge and spread, including COVID-19. So protecting and promoting a health source is an important contribution to One Health approach. So we know agriculture contributes about 25% of global greenhouse gas emission, and we know that land use change is the single biggest environment driver to new disease outbreak. We also know that overuse of pesticide or synthetic fertilizers has major consequences of the biodiversity. Soil degradation contributes to climate change, and climate change also reinforces land degradation through more frequent, severe, and prolonged heat events, forest fires, and erosion. So as a global community, we need to work together to address One Health approach. Therefore, OIE, FAO, UNEP, and WHO for UN agency are now finalizing the One Health joint plan of action, which includes the integration of environment to One Health and address the food translation of the food systems. So we still need to work more comprehensive manners. We need to better address human health in a holistic approach with soil ecology, agronomic crop production, as well as food science and nutrition. The multidisciplinary research will be essential to move forward. So we have many things to do, but like Sadhguru said, that conscious planet as a fundamental in this process. We are very happy to working together with all of you. So thank you very much again, this opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Ambassador Pandey, Sadhguru, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, future leaders. It's a real pleasure to be here. And it's actually, I'm going to speak both from an IUCN perspective, but also from a personal perspective, because I come from a small farming family, and I spent most of my life in conservation. And to be honest, there's always been a little bit of a tension there. There has been conservationists did not understand farmers and agriculturalists, and agriculturalists certainly didn't understand farmers, conservationists. And there has been this tension, and it's a shame that there's been that tension. But I think, thanks to the work of Sadhguru and Save Soil, that is changing. And we're actually now starting to see that we do share a common cause, a realization that nature underpins life here on Earth. Whether that's regulating the planetary systems, we just heard yesterday the dire warnings coming from the IPCC on mitigation, and that there's no time left now to take action, or whether it's actually sustaining and enhancing the livelihood of small farmers and small farming communities. Nature underpins all of that. And this is critical. This is critical when we look at agriculture. And so when IUCN started to say we're going to work with agriculture, we said we want to get past the old confrontations, and we want to focus on the common cause and the common ground. And where is that? It's soil. It's soil and soil biodiversity. That's where we start. And I would really just emphasize again, and it's been mentioned in some of these videos, but it is amazing. There are 6 billion species of soil fungi. There's 10 million species of bacteria, countless. We don't know how many types of protozoa they are. And next time you're in your garden, take a handful of soil and look at that and think, in that soil, there is over 100 billion individual species over a range of different genera and different… There's over 70 in that handful of soil, over somewhere around 60 kilometers of filaments. That is what sustains life. That's what actually gives agricultural productivity. That's what actually unites us, actually, whether we're in conservation or agriculture. And but unfortunately, for a period of time, we lost sight of that. We heard this on the video already. Soil is an ecosystem, but we lost sight of the fact that soil was an ecosystem when we thought just soil was a substrate simply to get water and nutrients up to crops. But again, thanks to Sadhguru, thanks to these movements like Save Soil, that is being reframed. And I say I'm personally delighted, I'm personally excited to be here. I've been working on land degradation and restoration for a lot of my career. We helped set up an initiative called the Bonn Challenge with the German government. We had over 210 million hectares committed to restoration, but that's just a drop in the ocean. We've really got to start to build that further. We've also seen this idea of bringing together, instead of trying to solve these crises separately, starting to try and solve crises together, just as Naoko mentioned. And that's what led us to bring this idea of nature-based solutions. And one of the fantastic opportunities for nature-based solutions is indeed saving soil. So I would really like to thank Sadhguru for his leadership. I think it's a message of urgency, but it's also a message of hope. And critically, I think it's a message of love. You said that. A way to say I love you is to say save soil. And really to the future leaders, I would say you can get angry, you can get frustrated, but if you want to be older gentlemen like ourselves, you need to have your work driven by love. So save soil, let's get going. I think this is really exciting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, Sadhguru, the main events, we'd really like to hear from you and hear some of your reflections.
Namaskaram and good afternoon to all of you. Well, it's fantastic to see the commitment of the SDGLabs and… I'm sorry, SDG, correct. Yeah. And of course, our ambassador here at the UN and Madam, yes. And IUCN coming out so passionately, it's fantastic. Only thing I don't like about him is he's calling me old.
I called us old, you and me.
Because I don't want to get old in this 84 days that I have, I need to stay good. 30,000 kilometers at this stage of life is not a joyride. So, anyway, it's wonderful that everybody is beginning to see this in this direction. I've been talking about this for the last 30 years. Everybody says it's fantastic, and it dies right there. So I don't want you people to again say, Sadhguru, fantastic, I'll go home and sleep on it. That's not what is needed. We need to understand, as a generation of people, we are that generation of people who are in a cusp of time right now, that if we do the right things now, we could be that generation which turn back from the brink of a disaster. Or we could be that generation which slept through and fell over and grieve over the disaster. Why I'm saying this is, well, we're in Europe and World War I happened. We grieved over that, oh, we shouldn't have done this, never again another war will happen. Before we could forget it, when the same generation was still alive, number 2 happened. Then we thought, this is it, after this we're never going to fight again. And we made League of Nations and United Nations. We said, we'll never fight again. How many wars since then? Then the year 2000 came, the young people stood up and said, we are millennials. I don't know whatever it means, I'm in both the millenniums. It's a fortune, half in this millennium, half in the next. Whatever it means, they said we are a knowledge-based generation, we are technology-based generation. There will be no such wars. That is the fools of 20th century. 21st century, how many wars? How many nations destroyed? Once again, you have things in the neighborhood going. So I'm saying there are a whole lot of people who will allow disasters to happen, who walk into disasters and then grieve over it. With this soil issue, I would like to be that generation who turned back from the brink of disaster doing the right things. What is the right thing to do? Well, there are any number of scientists who put their life into soil sciences, but they were never heard for whatever reasons. They've spoken here and there, but really, in the policy making of the world, their words have not been taken, unfortunately. I've been interacting with various agriculture ministries of various nations. Almost every nation on the planet, even today, largely addresses soil as an inert substance that you can fix by adding this chemical or that chemical and fix it. Well, let me bring this to you already. He very eloquently said that. Soil is the largest living system not on the planet. In the known universe, there isn't anything like that. The first 15 to 18 inches of soil, what magic it is unbelievable. Even if you sow death into it, life will sprout out of it. There isn't another substance or there isn't another place like that anywhere in the universe that we know. But we've been treating it like it's some kind of a material that we can use and discard. Well, there is no room to discard because the only place you can put back anything is back into the soil, really. Wherever you put it, that's where it goes. We are born out of it, we live off it, when we die we go back to it. Now we've been busy pointing out differences between you and me. Oh, you're of a different gender, different race, different religion, different country, different… How many differences have we found? But soil is one unifying factor. This is not only for ecological purposes. As human beings, to find a common ground, to find a common denominator among ourselves is most important, because otherwise we will not solve solutions, we'll not find solutions. Even with best intentions, we will only multiply problems, which we have been doing. We have been expressing our good intention all over the place, but we are only multiplying the problems because we are always looking at the divisions between you and me, how we are different. All of us come from the soil, we go back to the soil. Will we get this when we are alive, or will we get this only when we are buried? This is the only question. If we get this now, we could do something wonderful. If you don't get it now, you still make good manure. I'm saying somehow you will be eco-friendly at some point. So, what is it that we are asking for? There are many complex… I'm sorry, could we… can we raise the volume a little bit so that I can stay away? I'm sorry. Hello? Yep. There are many complex solutions that any number of people are offering, technologies, applications. I respect all that. But for all this to work, we must have reasonably alive soil. If soil is not alive, your technology, your applications, all the great ideas, none of them are going to work because this is the life-making material. Can I tell you a story? Is it okay? A story is allowed in a… This happened in 2060, this happened. A group of scientists sought an appointment with God. They got it and they went there. And they went there and told him, "Hey, old man, you've done pretty well with creation. But today everything that you can do, we can also do. It's time you retire." God said, "Oh, is that so? What is it that you can do?" Then they said, "Look at this," and they just dug up some soil, made a vague image of a human child and did all kinds of things, and in a few minutes the child came alive. God said, "Oh, that's very impressive, but first get your own soil." So everything that you have seen as anything living, whether it's a worm or an insect or a bird or an animal or a tree or a man or a woman, anything that you have seen as life has come from the soil. It is because of that material we are able to manufacture life. The cycle of life is on because of that one thing. otherwise it wouldn't happen. Well, there are many, many complex solutions for everything, but the simplest thing we need to understand is the microbial life as he was describing. I'm sorry, what's that name?
Stewart.
Stewart, I'm sorry. I'm traveling so much, on the motorcycle, my brain is flying away a little bit. So you lose some of it, the winds. So, as Stewart was eloquently saying about how many trillion, nobody knows how many trillion, we know it is in numbers that we cannot count. It's beyond our computing systems. That is how complex it is. So this complex material, how does it live? How does it thrive? There only one thing is they need food, like us, because that's how life on this planet is made. There is no life on this planet which can just be by itself without consuming something. This is the nature of life on this planet. They also need food like you and me. Their food is this organic content in the soil. They need carbon sugars to survive. And they will do multiple activities. It is the most complex partnership system anywhere in the universe. It is the most sophisticated marketplace on the planet because it is so very complex, what little we know. Today, scientists are openly admitting that they probably know approximately 1% of what's happening there. 1% of the species is what they know. Knowing 1%, you cannot decide how to run this, right? Hello? Knowing 1% of your life, can you run your life? Knowing 1% of your job, can you do your job? Hello? We know 1%, and that is mind-boggling, that 1%. That's how complex it is. So one important thing is to put back nature to whatever extent possible without disturbing human life and human market systems on the planet, to put back natural systems as much as possible. This is the only answer we have. Rest is all lot of talk because we know only 1%. Knowing 1%, if you think or you are a master of that thing, that would be the stupidest thing we did in this… on this planet. So it's important that we put it back to its natural cycle. Put it back to natural cycle means just give them food to eat. Why are they being denied food to eat? This started happening somewhere between 45 to 60 years ago, actively across the world. In some countries, it might have started a little earlier. They came up I think in 1916, a German scientist came up with a magic powder. It is a nitrogenous fertilizer. So people took this magic powder and put it on the land and boom, crops just bounced out like that. I'm calling this magic powder because it really did magic for the farmers at one time. I know in regions of India where when the fertilizer came, the yield went up by 300% for many farmers, 3 times over. So definitely they bowed down to this powder and said, this is magical. But the problem is we forgot. It is like you are doing quite well, but you went to the doctor and the doctor said, your calcium is not good, your iron is not good, your folate is not good, and gave you 3 pills. Next day you took it and you felt really good. Then you decided, this is it. Instead of 3, I will take 300 and I don't have to eat anymore. And then you know what happens? That's exactly what's happened to the soil. We started thinking just by throwing the salts, everything will happen. No, in a doctored way, if you apply it, even today, it'll work very well, it's important. I'm saying this because a whole lot of urban population in the world goes on talking about, now the words get replaced, same mentality. They said all these days everybody was talking organic farming. This is an urban fashion. Those people who have never farmed in their life like to talk about organic farming because they've never done anything. So if you go to the marketplace, there is one apple marked as organic. What is the other one? Is it inorganic? I want to know. No, what you're trying to say is the level of fertilizer, pesticide, this, that. You need to understand, largely nobody sprays pesticide on a full-blown fruit. Generally, it's in the flowering time that they do it. It won't usually get into the fruit. These are all paranoia. I'm not saying fertilizer is not getting in, pesticide is not getting in. Yes, in grapes and other things it is there. I am not trying to discount that factor. All I'm saying is, today if you take away all the chemicals from farming on the planet, our food production will come down to 25% of what it is right now. That will be a massive disaster, it'll be death, literally. So we cannot really think about it. If you increase the organic content, slowly the use of fertilizer will start coming down, it will slide down very, very slowly, and we have to go that way. How to increase the organic content? There are only two things: plant life, animal life. There is no other technology, there is no other material, there is no other planet which can provide you that material. Only on this planet you have to produce plant life and animal life. There is simply no other way to put back organic content. Well, about carbon sequestering and many other things, we can talk endlessly about it, but the important thing is, if you increase the organic content, the microorganism life in the soil will enhance itself, and they are the basis of who we are. We are a consequence of their activity, both in terms of evolution and today as an ecological species. When we say ecology, don't think it's a subject matter. We are the ecology. 60% of your body is microbial life, only 40% is your parental genetics. So you are the ecology sitting here. Hello? You are the environment too. So we thinking we'll fix the environment, we'll fix the ecology, that is the distance itself is causing a lot of problem for us. So the simple thing is this: put the food back for the microbes. That is the organic content. To put this back, you need either plant material or animal waste. There is simply no other way. So this needs to happen. For this, you need a policy incentive. Otherwise, farmers will not go back to it. 50 years ago, every farmer knew this and they were doing this. Today, we've just lost this. For about a generation or maybe 2 generations have lost this, and now we've forgotten. We have to have plant life and animal life on the farm, otherwise you can't put back the organic content, but that needs an incentive. So, right now instead of branding things as organic, in future we need to look at this. Right now let's say in Northern Europe, an average organic content in the soil is 1.48. In Southern Europe, it's about 1.2. In United States, it's around 1.4 to 1.5. In India, large percentages have only 0.68%. And in Africa, it is 0.3%, which is desertification, serious desertification. So, being here, if a national government announces this, if you increase your organic content in your farm, which is very easy to test, unlike testing a product. Testing a fruit or a vegetable is very complex, it takes a lab. This can be just done on the farm by the farmer, that you can test the organic content of the soil. Let's say if you get it to 3%, what is the incentive you will get? Governments have to fix this. Once the government fix this, and let us say you go to the marketplace, now somebody has marked this apple as this comes from a land which has 3% organic content, there is enough science to tell you, if it has 3% organic content, what are the micronutrients which will be present in the apple that you eat or the fruit or vegetable that you eat, and what are the health benefits that you have. For all this, there's enough science. We just have to collate these things and put it together. Then market will give its own incentive for that farmer as it goes. Now you go there and somebody says, this is 3%, this is 6%. You want to buy the 6%, obviously it'll cost more, but instead of eating 8 oranges, you can eat 1. That's the difference it will make. So, this is something that needs to happen now, not tomorrow, because if you start the policy making now, for it to fulfill in terms of action across the world, it will take anywhere between 8 to 12 or maybe 12 to 20 years' time before it happens across the globe. But if we don't make the policies now, right now according to UNFAO, the loss of biodiversity on the planet is on the scale of 27,000 species per year. Species, you heard it right, 27,000 species are being lost, are going extinct every year. At this rate, in about 30 to 35 years, we will reach a point where if we want to revive or regenerate the soil, it will take 150 to 200 years, which will be an absolute disaster. So this is why the urgency, as I said, this is our time on this planet. As a generation, are we a responsible generation or will we sleep through? This is the choice that we have. Is sleep a crime? Hello? No. But if you sleep through your life, you will become a disaster. And you will see a crime is better than a disaster. Yes, it is. Let's not become the disaster, that's the effort. Why this movement is to move the people. Why the people have to be moved? See, we are democratically elected nations, all right? Largely administrations are democratically elected. You give them a term of 4 to 5 years. A government is elected not to do something fantastic. A government is elected to fulfill the people's mandate. What is the people's mandate? Tell me one nation on the planet where 60% of the people have stood up and said, we are ready for long-term policy making. We are ready for doing something that is for the well-being of our children also and their children also. We are willing to invest and work towards that. Which nation, anywhere citizens have stood up and said? People have not spoken. So what will the government do? Government will only try to fulfill the mandate of the people in a matter of 4 to 5 years that they have. So this is very important. Unless people speak, there are 5.26 billion people who have franchise in the world. If 3 to 4 billion people speak, in these 100 days, we want 3 to 4 billion people to speak. You don't have to support me, you do your own soil thing. Say something soil every day. On the social media, on the street, wherever you want, on your car, on your face, say soil, something about soil, really. I'm telling you this, not a joke. If we don't do enough right now, we will be a seriously regretful generation in 20 years' time. Let's not get there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sadhguru. That was, I'm sure, like me, you found that really inspiring. Let's see if we can take a couple of questions. Let's see if we start with the future leaders, because you're going to be dealing with this issue longer than, certainly longer than me. I'm not going to speak for Sadhguru, but certainly longer than me. You're going to be dealing with this issue. So has anybody got a question? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a tourism student from some sustainability management school. How do you think the tourism industry can play its role in saving soil? It's me. Yeah.
We need to put legs on tourism. Oh, I'm sorry, the microphone is down there, please sit down, it's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Okay, I'm Lalit. I'm from Sustainability Management School with a tourism background. Like, how do you think the tourism industry can play its role in saving soil?
So yesterday, as a part of Switzerland's tourism department, they organized because they have been our partners now in this effort, they took us to a place which is a heritage site kind of thing, but actually these are terraced agriculture, where it is also a UNESCO heritage region and to be kept that way. And this is a massive tourism attraction. We went there to talk about soil with the farmer who's having a vineyard which started in 1393, if I'm getting the date right, I think, yes, 1392 or 1393, that's over 700 years. So a 700-year-old farm or 730-year-old farm, whatever it is, today we are visiting it for its soil condition, but it is also a big tourism draw. It's very important that preservation is not just what human beings have built. What is naturally there also needs to be preserved. That also can become a tourist attraction. Well, there are many natural wonders in the world, we're going to it, but we're always looking at something that is standing up, because this is human idea of doing something must stand up, something that lies there. We need to change our perspective about this. Something that lies there is the basis of all that stands up, including you. I'm sorry I asked you to stand up. So, we can create tourism out of this. Right now, India is making efforts to bring back what is called as, village tourism, to bring back cultural tourism and agriculture as a part of it, where tourists are coming from different parts of the world to come and work in the fields of India. Not on a large scale, it's happening very small scale right now, but it could be enlarged, that especially for the youth who think food comes from the Volt app. What is your food app in Switzerland? I'm saying Volt because in Germany it was Volt. What is your food app? In India we have Swiggy, Piggy, so many things. What is yours? Huh? Uber Eats. So people think, young people are beginning to think food comes from Uber, all right? That's a very Uber idea. So, for them to go and see how actually food grows and be a part of it, even if they spend 3 days there and get their hands muddy, I refuse to use the word dirty, because in some nations we are calling soil as dirt. If that is dirt, all of us are dirt bags. That's what it amounts to, hello? So, it's very, very important, and I must tell you this, we have… now we have changed the name. Earlier this used to be called as a yogic hospital. Now we call it a rejuvenation center because we had problems with the word hospital. Here, there are always people who are being treated for something or the other. We don't treat them with a comfortable bed and a nurse treating them and helping them. No, we put them to work in the garden and they get well. Believe me, if you get your hands and feet into the soil, your body reorganizes itself in such a miraculous way, because 60% of your body is microbial life. It needs that connect badly. So, we can make health tourism and agricultural tourism, above all, people to have that experience of growing something. If you're willing to take a 70-day vacation, you can grow your own crop along with the local farmer. Well, if you do it yourself, it'll be a disaster. At least he can make you feel you did it. That's a good tourism idea.
Thank you, Sadhguru. And actually, I'll just second that idea. I think it's to grow something. Even if you live in a little, grow something. I think actually to just make that connection and see it grow. When I get back from this today, I'll get out into my vegetable garden. I'll grow my own vegetables. It is really, it's super inspiring. So I'd encourage all of you to do so. Another question? Okay. Let us see, for sake of gender balance, let's see if we've got…
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Tomi Pajarinen. I'm originally from Finland. The microphone stand is a little bit short, so I'm sitting here, but I'm still a live person here. So, thank you, Sadhguru, for your very powerful videos and all the other panelists for their comments. So when I go to the supermarket and buy tomatoes, or tomatoes as they may be pronounced, they may indicate on the packaging that the tomato may be from Spain or Italy, but there's never any mention about the quality of the soil. Has there been any discussions to address this food labeling question in this regard, please?
Not at all, because soil has not been in focus at all. I think on the video you saw Lord Billimoria speaking. He was at one of our events in London, and he said, Sadhguru, I was at the COP26 for a week and a half. It was 2-week event, but he was there for a week and a half, and he said he addressed over 30 meetings or gatherings that are there. But he said, I never heard the word soil the 10 days that I was there. I also spoke to a few other environment ministers from different nations, and they also said similar things. We never heard the word soil. So the soil word is a dirty word that people have been avoiding. So this is one reason to change the narrative on the planet. This movement's fundamental focus is that, to change the narrative, because without changing the narrative in a democratic society, nothing moves. So all of you who are here, right now I asked for 1 million Earth buddies. I think we have about 400,000 plus, I think, right now, if I'm correct, somewhere around that. And an Earth buddy means you dedicate to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes a day to enhance the soil message in the world somehow. Use the Twitter, use the Facebook, use the Instagram or whatever gram, all right? Somehow enhance the message, because I want you to appreciate this. This is the first generation ever in the history of humanity who has the ability to sit where you're sitting and talk to the world. Never before such a thing was possible. Many great beings have come, but when they spoke, hardly 10 people could hear them. This is the first time that just about anybody can speak. That… what do you have, a smartphone or a dumb phone? What do you have? I'm just checking. You have a smartphone? So if you have a smartphone, you should not waste this phone just to send silly messages. That you can do a little bit, all right? I'm not against anything. You can do a little bit of that, but the important thing is, this is a powerhouse. If you use it right, you can change the world with that instrument in your hand or in your pocket right now. Hello? Hello? Because in a democratic nation, there are two things in your hands which are most powerful. One is your vote, that's your business, I will not talk about it. Another is your voice. I'm saying, where is your voice? What have you spoken about that is of great concern to you and to the world? What have you spoken? Please look at this. It's time to speak. If you don't speak now, it'll be wasted. About soil as a important aspect of whether it's a tomato or an apple or whatever it is, it has to come in the world. In what kind of soil has it been grown, rather than telling me this is organic or inorganic.
Thank you, Sadhguru. Let us hear what… we've got time for one more question. I'd like one woman, I'd like it from… we've had two men, so I'd like to hear a question from a young future leader woman, okay? Over here, so, okay, please go ahead.
Oh, ladies, don't ask me very difficult questions, okay?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, hi. Thank you so much for this, it's been really wonderful. My question is on… I would love to get your thoughts on the feasibility and the potential of a potential carbon-based financing mechanism or type of currency in order to be a policy in order to really inspire carbon sequestration, not only in our soils, but in our forests, and to really bring the power back to the folks on the ground. Do you see that happening in the future?
If you are asking for a prediction, will it happen or not? I am somebody who does not like predictions, because predictions are made based on cold facts of the day, not taking into consideration what is beating in your heart right now. What happens tomorrow depends on what is beating in your heart today, isn't it? Not because of some cold facts out there. So, I don't have a prediction to make, but I have a plan. Are you a part of it? That's all I'm asking. We need a plan and the will to execute that plan. That's what is needed. Do we have the necessary commitment? Are we focused enough to see that we don't walk into disasters and then cry about it? We are capable of mitigating disasters before they happen. But if you mitigate a disaster, you don't get any award for that, you won't get any recognition for that. Suppose a bomb explodes, if you go and help the people who are injured, you will get something. If you made sure the bomb did not explode, nobody will know you did it, all right? So, it's all right. It is this life, there is no recognition. How we live, what we do and what we create is what matters. Whether somebody claps their hands or not, that doesn't matter. Whether somebody appreciates it or not, it doesn't matter. The important thing is, what do we stand for, what have we created, how are we as human beings? When I say human beings, we must understand that all other creatures, the percentages I'm just throwing, okay, don't take that seriously. Most creatures are made like this. 90% of their life is fixed by nature. Only 10% latitude for their individual personalities to develop. With the human being, as human beings, we come largely unformed. Only 10% is fixed by nature, 90% is in your hands. This is what human beings are suffering, this freedom. This freedom to be the kind of person or being that you wish to be, that is what they're suffering. So people are not suffering their bondage, they're suffering their freedom. Daily struggle is just this, how to be. So, how to be in this world at a time like this? This is our choice. If we know how to be, we definitely have a plan. If we have a plan, then all we need is a relentless commitment to execute that plan. Now, what I'm asking the world is extremely simple. 192 countries, for all of them we made a small document which is a handbook to make policies on top of that. We are not presumptuous enough to make our own policy for countries, that's not my business. A simple handbook based on the latitudinal position, type of soil, population pressures on the land, economic conditions, taking all this into consideration. What should be the direction of the policy in that given nation? We've made 192 books like this, it's taken us over 2 years of work to do this. And some of the top scientists have participated in this. Now we are reaching this to every nation, but for them to take it seriously, we need 60% of the population to move, to say something about soil in a concerted way in a limited amount of time. If you say it over 20 years, it'll be lost. It must be said in this 100 days. Because you're wonderful people of Switzerland, I'm giving you 16% discount, because 16 days are already gone, 84 days you have. 84 days, make as much noise about soil as you can. Let the world reverberate with the word soil, because soil is not about me, soil is the basis of our life. Soil is the basis of every life that we see around us. So right now the important thing is to move people. About carbon sequestering and the carbon market, these are important because first incentive, I want the government to come, that's the way it works. The government has to give the first incentive. The second incentive should come from these corporations and others who will give the carbon credits. The next will come from the market. On the whole, the farmer will benefit in a big way. This is very important for us. We have done some kind of a survey in India which shows that not even right now 63% of Indian population is in farming, but not even 2% of the farmers want their children to become farmers because it's such an atrocious profession. Yes, a whole lot of them want to commit suicide because simply it's impossible to make ends meet and it's a terrible thing to do right now in the world. It is very important in the next 10 to 15 years' time, we make agriculture in such a way, a farmer will earn at least as much as an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer. This needs to happen, otherwise nobody will have the skill of this magic, performing this magic that we call as agriculture, because this is the magic of transforming mud into food, it's not a small thing. It is the greatest thing and the most vital thing for our life.
Thank you very much. I see several hands, but unfortunately we have run out of time. I think we could have done with a couple more hours at least. I would really like to thank all of you, and again, apologies for those who couldn't ask questions. But I think we've had some really fantastic insight already. Sadhguru, I'm going to give you the final word if you just want to sort of give us that last, your last wrap-up thought or word of inspiration, and then I'm going to hand across to Mr. Babat, and he's going to take us through to the end of this, this fantastic session. Thank you very much, everyone.
My gratitude to all of you who are here representing different aspects, and Ambassador, yourself, those vegetables, you did the wrong thing, I'm a comforter. You're growing your own vegetables, that sounds attractive. Ma'am, thank you very much. And every one of you who is here, see, this is our time on the planet. How we do life here is our business. Will we do life in a responsible way or in a frivolous and irresponsible way? This is the choice that we have. And right now, according to UNFAO, the food that we're eating today doesn't belong to us, does not even belong to the young children that you see here. It belongs to the unborn child. We are eating up the food that belongs to the unborn child. That is how we are over-consuming right now. In my emotion, if I eat up the food of an unborn child, I feel this is a crime against humanity. We need to absolve ourselves of this. Thank you.
Joyful and awakening, inspiring and thought-provoking. This has not been an ordinary experience, this has been extraordinary. And I am sure all the participants, they are going to get this experience, get converted into action to think, feel and talk about soil. We will now have the last video to be played. It's an anthem actually, soil anthem. It's a very short video and I will request that soil anthem to be played, please.
La 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 la.
This very body is soil. My body, your body, everybody is just soil body. The magic of soil is it turns death into life. Depleted soils will not quench the fire of hunger. Unquenched hunger can burn the very world. This is a generational responsibility. Save soil. Let's make it happen.
To be seated, please. Truly overwhelming, that brought goosebumps. We will now have a photo op And I will request one of our volunteers to please give Save Soil posters to all the 5 dignitaries so that we can have a photo op with the posters being held by our dignitaries. Thank you. As we come closer towards the conclusion, I would now request our Consul General, Sunil Achaya, to please propose vote of thanks.
Respected Sadhguru Ji, Permanent Representative of India to the UN, Ambassador Indramani Pandey, distinguished speakers, Ms. Nadia Eisler, Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, and Mr. Stewart Maginnis. Your Excellencies from the international organizations, permanent missions, and consulates, esteemed guests, members of the Sadhguru Ji's entourage, members of the Isha Foundation, the Indian community, and my colleagues from the Permanent Missions of India and the Consulate. On behalf of the Permanent Missions of India and the Consulate, let me begin by expressing our gratitude to the respected Sadhguru Ji for his contribution to enriching the planet and all living beings by embarking on this all-important mission to save soil in this edition. I say this edition because, as highlighted earlier, in the past, you launched a movement on the theme Kaveri Calling to save rivers and protect the most important element of life, that is water. You have sought to undertake this journey to educate us on the need to sustain soil nutrients. Realizing this, Sadhguru Ji has received overwhelming support of countries that he has traversed so far. It is a testimony to the importance of the mission that he seeks to highlight, which is in consonance to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Sadhguru Ji, we would also like to thank you for the very catchy anthem, which is unique in its own way. I'd like to also express our gratitude to Ms. Nadia, Dr. Naoko, for their wonderful exposition on the subject, and Mr. Stewart for his insightful views and for consenting to moderate the discourse. Moving on, Your Excellencies and esteemed guests from within and outside the diplomatic community, you have taken time off for your busy schedule to be present and participate in the discourse on, as I said, an important topic on saving soil, an important building block of life. I would also like to express our profound gratitude to the DG UNOG, Ms. Tatiana, for having provided this venue, which in itself adds a certain prestige to the event. To her colleagues, I thank you for providing logistic and technical support to ensure the success of the event. I'd also like to thank my colleagues in the mission and the consulate for their efforts in adding to the successful conduct of the event. In closing, we will make it happen. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for the vote of thanks. We now come to the conclusion of this discourse today, and I, on behalf of the Permanent Missions of India to the United Nations, to WTO, and to the Conference on Disarmament, the Consulate General of India, and our partners, Isha Foundation, would like to thank you all for joining in today. And we look forward to our future events that we'll be organizing in the coming days. Thank you so much for all of you for joining this event today. Thank you, and Jai Hind.